Hey everyone, we are here for our weekly live resume reviews. If you're tuning in on LinkedIn or YouTube, please engage. Sorry for the rattling. My dog's in the background. If anyone wants a dog appearance, let me know in the comments. He's a Frenchie. He's pretty funny. But we are streaming to LinkedIn and YouTube. One of the things we've seen recently is we've had some glitches on the stream to LinkedIn, but YouTube's been great. So we'll share the YouTube link in the comments if you want to head over there. And while you're at it, you can throw us a like or subscribe on YouTube, trying to grow that audience, trying to get good career content out there to everybody. But awesome. For those that have been here before with us, thank you. For those that are new, welcome. The way we run these is folks submit their resumes. The link is in the comments for that as well. If you would like to submit your resume for a future one of these, I go and sort of redact information and then we review them live. I don't really look at them too much in advance because I'm trying to give an initial reaction the way a recruiter would, or someone who was hiring, who was kind of skimming resumes very quickly. And I just kind of like brain to mouth. Hey, Daryl, so good to see you. And my reaction to these resumes. So with that, we've got 6 resumes today, all from different kind of functions or occupations, a bunch of different formats. Hey, James. We use a software called StreamYard to do the streaming, and it kind of sends it from LinkedIn. So sometimes there's a little delay. So if you comment and I don't reply, it's probably because I didn't see it. Leah is hey, Marcus. Good to see you. So happy to see a lot of familiar faces. All right, well, the pressure's on to make this entertaining and interesting. All right, let's dive into it. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Hi, Kelly. Okay, so I've got a little Airtable here of submissions. Let's see. Let's do the first one. I'm returning to a field I previously worked in after switching industries for some time. I worked as a program manager for 6 years and left and worked as a television producer. And I've recently decided to return to tech as a product manager. Let's look at the job they're interested in. Senior product manager, live auctioneers. Let's see what Teal has to say. Product initiatives, strategy, user experience, user research, and agile. Let's just look at the requirements. What you will need to succeed. This is another fancy way of saying requirements. A minimum of 5 years experience and product managing complex products. That's a weird sentence. Okay, got it. A degree or equivalent required, MBA a plus. Sometimes one of the things I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll copy that and I'll search for, okay, only one time is required. Alrighty. Given that, let's dive into this JD. Sorry, this resume. So, all right. Let's see. Right off the bat, I love that I see this is a person who's pivoting, senior product manager right there. Okay, that must be what this person is. I love that. Because like anyone who's joined these before, especially if you're pivoting and you haven't had that job before, this is a way for you to kind of channel that and say, look, I am that, and sort of embody that role. So I love it. That's great. Cool. Seasoned Microsoft PM with a career dedicated to propelling new ideas through collaborative leadership and limitless ideation. Experience ranges from productivity, software, and UX UI design to game development and genre-defining television content. I'm going to read these out loud just to kind of try to take it in. There's a lot there. I feel like there's not a lot of words in the sense it's only 2 lines, but there's a lot to take in. But I kind of don't know if I really took anything away. So things like seasoned, that doesn't really help you, right? The JD says 5 years of experience. Just say it, over 5 years experience, right? Like it's, if we're looking at this, you need 5 years experience, just say it right there. Seasoned now, okay, well, are you good? Like, do you have enough years experience? MSc, program manager, intern? Nope, I'm not counting that. Program manager, not counting that, not counting. Okay, product manager, 22 to present. Nope, out. Don't meet it. Right. So because that's required. It says it. So if you were going to do something, if you can say this was essentially product management, maybe program in parentheses, if you're not comfortable kind of bending what it was or how it was used, those two roles are very similar, but obviously different. Because if you're applying for that job, you'd probably get knocked out because you don't meet the requirements. So that right there, it's here, but I don't see it down here. You got to back it up. I think this is a great place to say it. And if you need to kind of build that bridge between program management and product management, right here's a great place to do it. Because the point of this, and I'm a big fan of a quick little summary statement, is to hook them and get them going. All right, so I like that. Give me a little bit more oomph here. Next, what I'm seeing now is I tend to think that this is a little redundant. The summary and then the summary of qualifications, pick one or the other, right? I'm like halfway down and I haven't gotten to any of the real stuff yet. So I don't love that. Visionary and creative force. These aren't like hard skills. The solutions-driven problem identifier and solver, effective communicator, natural. These are all like these are soft skills. Techno-dexterous. I mean, I can guess what that means, but not language. You want simple, understandable language. Don't make the person work so hard to kind of understand what this means. So that for me is not really helping, I don't think. A couple other things that come to mind while I'm here, like this border around the page is not helpful. That could have just been how you exported the PDF, but given its space relative to the other content, I'm going to say no, that's intentional. I would not do this. ATSs generally don't like that. And again, for the new folks, ATSs don't pick you. They don't have a magical AI that decides whether you get through or not, but they do parse the text on the resume. And that's just a good thing. That's like, for searchability, if someone's going back and searching the database of candidates, potentially populating the applications for you, it's just kind of a good thing. So these I've seen break it because then it doesn't know how to categorize content. The other thing I noticed is there was no LinkedIn on here. I would generally recommend having a LinkedIn profile. I know there's a few others from when I was doing the redacting that have LinkedIn listed out the right way, so I'll just wait for that. But I think the core contact information you need is your name, your city, state if you want. You don't need your zip code. We'll talk about that later. Your email address and your LinkedIn. Optional phone number, but I think those are key. All right, so now going down a little bit. Okay, this is a kind of role, then company first. Let's see. Look, some of these names are have brand recognition. And especially given that you're pivoting and this doesn't really matter anymore, you may want to go company first, then role. I don't think it's going to make or break, but just something to think about. And I'm doing this in the order that people skim. We'll get to the content last, because if I'm not hooked based on any of this, then I'm not even going to read the bullets. Okay, and then education down here. Okay, that all seems fine. Now let's look. Okay, provided strategic collaborative direction to mission-driven teams, mission team of designers and engineers in an agile environment that is working to create an open source web mobile. Okay, so here we're talking about, again, just describing what we did. How many designers, how many people were on the team? Did you achieve it? Did you launch it? How long did it take? Did it get users? Right, let's go back here now. This is where we go back to the JD to help us with some of the content. Willingness to iterate rapidly. Okay. Strong comfort with dynamic, high growth environment, organizational and leadership abilities, excellent communication. Some of these start to be kind of generic. Ideally, you will have online marketplace experience is a strong plus. Management, consulting, or engineering experience is a plus. Okay. None of that's coming through here yet. Define customer journey for food seeker, driving product research, driving product based on user research. That, unless I'm missing something, I'm not the best reader, but defined customer journey for food seekers, comma, driving product based on user research. Now, someone can help me in the comments if I'm missing out here. But there's something there that doesn't make sense. Like, honestly, if I was reading this resume at this point, I'd be like, I think I'm gonna pass. Right. So you want the language to be simple. All right. Maintained 100 plus issues on Kanban board to ensure completion, manage priorities. All right. Like, at what rate did you resolve them? Okay, so you did 100 plus issues. But like, did they stay there? And also, I maintained the issues. Did you resolve them? Did you help define them? Just saying like I maintained them is not, when we talk about like action verbs, it's just like very passively descriptive. Okay, that's not helpful to me that you can maintain it. So some things to think about there. Let's go down a couple more. Design and manage end-to-end development of an app to judge a challenge for instant influencers, YouTube. See, where would like the disconnect for me is that, wait, you were a senior television producer and you designed and managed an app? Maybe take some liberties with the title and change it. Yeah, no one's going to go back and check. You could say, senior television producer, comma, and product manager. You were there for a whole bunch of years. Or another thing you could do, given that you were there for a while, is list out the various roles you had, right? And then you could show you had progression. Maybe just put like 2 jobs while you're there. One was television producer. This is another reason I like company first, because then when you do company first hierarchically, you could then do positions. Let me show you what I mean by that. So in the resume builder here, let me switch over to formatting mode, right? This is doing positions first, but you could do company first. And then when you do company first, then you can list multiple roles beneath a company. I don't have any in this particular resume right now. Let's see if we can. There we go. Right. See here, we work 2 positions. And this is kind of our recommended default, because then you have sort of max duration as well. All right. So, all right, I think we'll leave it at there. There was a good learnings on this resume. The good thing is, like, this is very close. I think just to sort of recap, add your LinkedIn profile. If you don't have one, create one. You have 3 things that are kind of do like an opening pitch: strategic, innovative, creative. I'm sorry, but these don't mean much. So iterative, like look for words that you could maybe, and then these 2 are kind of they're trying to achieve the same thing. You have like text on the screen they're both trying to do the same job. Give each piece of text one job and don't let multiple pieces of text have the same job. Nice and clean and crisp. And then those are the changes I'd make there. All right. Let me check back in for questions here. See. Cool. We got some good engagement in the comments. I love it. Okay. Oh yeah, definitely switch over to YouTube. Streaming's really, really good there. Love LinkedIn, one of my favorite platforms, but streaming, if it has any issues, check out YouTube. Second favorite platform. Okay. Many of the hiring, so there's a little bit of a conversation around like people who would take risk and teachability. That's true. I just wouldn't leave it to chance. Right. The more you have the job description. So if you can, don't assume people will assume. That's like a lot of leaving it to chance there. So if you have the skill, show it. Yeah, if you don't, that's a different story. Okay, Dana asks questions about JDs and qualifications. I always try to make sure that I include the qualification wording in my resume somewhere. Sometimes I do not meet some of the requirements, and so I can include it. So this is kind of like an exact cutoff, like an exact key. Oh, cool. There's the question. I didn't know I had that feature. That's pretty neat. Is there a way to intuit what's missing? So there are some ways you could do that. You could look at other jobs with the same title, ideally at the same company. Now, they could be vastly different if a different hiring manager wrote the JD, but you could then maybe go grab like 10 JDs with the same title and kind of manually look for some patterns. We hope to eventually build some functionality like that. If you really wanted to go to the next level, you could look at like some professional organizations and see if they publish like job requirements, typical stuff, things like that. But they're going to require more work. But I think it's okay. I really think you have what you need in the JD. Someone's skimming this at the end of the day. And so I think that 75% that you're using is good. Okay. Okay. Oh, thanks, Wendy. I was definitely not the best reader and connector there. So okay. Yeah, but it does bring up the point, like people aren't going to assume those things for you. And some folks are real sticklers for typing and grammar. So if you're building your resume in something like Google Docs or Word or, install Grammarly, we have text editing and that's our grammar built into the Teal resume builder. Read those things and reread those, especially if it's a job you're really excited about. Again, don't leave it to chance. I cannot take on new resumes. Submit them, please, in via the form. We are packed at 6 and I'm already 20 minutes in, so I'm way behind. All right, cool. I'm going to jump back. I'm going to jump to the next one. All right. I'm looking for a new occupation. So this person's a pivoter. I think so. Yeah. I was with my company for almost 10 years when I decided I needed a change and something new. Happy to review your resume. All right, let's look at the job that they included. I saw someone ask, this isn't required, it's just helpful to kind of contextualize a resume to a JD, because that's ultimately what it is. Resumes are not these just like abstract representations of you. Resumes are a response to a job description. Right? And that's a really important thing. I know it can be overwhelming because that leads to thinking of like, oh, do I really need to customize each resume for each job? I hate to be the bearer of bad news. If you want the job, yes. Right? It's like, it's not a generic request for a brand development. It's this company's request for brand development. Every company is listing out. Maybe there's 60% that's the same, but it's that 40% that I think is actually the most important. All right, so let's look at this one real quick. Let's see what Teal's got to say. Marketing revenue. Okay, so this isn't like this is already telling me if revenue's in the marketing word, this is marketing that's measured by effectiveness, not just like brand awareness. They're driving conversion. It's not about a handoff to sales who ultimately converts. The fact that revenue is so present. All right, these, seems to me like from here, it's like an analytical position. Let's take a quick look. Managing partnerships across Carolina's retail. Okay. Achieve revenue goals. All right, this marketing person has a revenue number on their head. That's very different. That's almost like sales. That's like conversion. I need to be able to speak to that. All right, we won't go too deep. Bachelor's degree, 4 to 6 years, previous sales marketing experience. This person told me they were pivoting, so that's already going to be a little tricky. Strong analytical skills, budget management. These are transferable skills, so let's see if they're there. Okie dokie. Let's check out the resume. So director of marketing, got it, love it. Channeling that position, they asked for director brand development. So I would potentially even put that here. I often say if you're going to just change one thing on your resume, change the target title. Okay, so let's now dive down. Results driven and innovative professional with 20 plus years of success in developing and executing marketing campaigns. Confident and competent communicator with the ability to work with multidisciplinary teams and with personnel of all levels. Developed multiple award-winning campaigns aimed at increasing revenue. Love that. And customer engagement. Skilled in cross-functional. All right, this is pretty good. What I would add to this professional summary, given the years of experience and how important revenue is, how much revenue have you driven? Even if you can millions in revenue, just give a number, tens of millions, over $10 million in revenue added to the company's bottom line or top line. So I think that's like what I love about a professional summary is it's your ability to talk about your career in aggregate. Everywhere in your resume, you kind of have to talk about what you did in each job. Here, you can put some like nice big numbers, total leads, total revenue, total campaigns. There's some cool stuff you could do here. And it's usually just summing up things that you did throughout here. Okay, again, career highlights and summary. I kind of would pick one or the other. Don't think you need both. Professional experience. Breaking convention a little bit here with like putting the dates kind of on their own above. I don't think it really matters, but I'm seeing a few different like graphical notations. It's making me think. So let's just start to count here. Got like a thin, let's call it, slightly bigger than base font, all caps bold. We'll call this the base font, small italicized font, bolded base font, italicized based font because it's different than this. So now we're at 6 different kind of font notations. That's just unnecessary. Like keep it simple. Because it's like, what do all these mean? Why does that matter? Just keep it crisp. And then you have graphical as well as like the underlines, the gray, which I'll talk about that from an ATS perspective in a minute. Okay, responsible for developing annual strategy. Okay, I defined the brand. Okay. These are just descriptive. These are not really telling me about your impact. If you're going to be a director at a company, I want to see what you do. Like how many leads did you drive? You were there for a while. You were there for almost, you were there for 9 years. I need to see some more oomph there. I need to see like what total, you were director of marketing. Also, this is again a situation where I might want to see that you grew. Were you a director the whole time? Did you sort of move up in positions while you were there? This is an opportunity, I think, to do company and then positions and show your progression. You weren't just in the same role for 9 years and that your responsibilities grew. Let's see. Reduce CPM by 46%, an annualized savings of $500,000 after full marketing costs. Okay, that's cool. Introduced an online access for activate. That's great. Activating. These are wonderful achievements. This job needs achievements. So you got to think every line on your resume's job is to get you to keep reading the next line. This one really just kind of lacked a lot of like meat on the bone. So I might have just been like, all right. This one, on the other hand, is great, but you're running the risk that, right? The assumption that people take with their resume is that everyone's going to read the whole thing. People skim resumes and just think about when you read a book. I tell you, if you read a book, if you don't like it, you stop reading it, and think about it. You look at the cover. Okay, interesting. I'll flip it over. I look at the summary. Okay, summary is interesting. Okay, great. I'll start the book. Oh, first chapter stinks. I'm out. And you got to think about that kind of progression on your resume as well, right? As people progress, even though it's only one page, the difference is the folks that are looking at them are often looking at hundreds of documents. So they're going to be very quick to decide if they want to go deeper. It's not a binary thing. It's about an incremental progression to get them to keep reading. How are you hooking them? How are you getting them to keep reading this document? So I feel like this last job might have lost me and I wouldn't gotten to this one. That's great. That shows like real impact. So think about it. Like the closer you are to the top of the resume, the better it needs to be. Let's see here. Yeah, this one's great too. Oversaw market CFO. Bravo. Okay, cool. Now the other thing is think about the order of the achievements. I see this all the time. It's like, I just got to get 4 on there. The first one's got to be the best one. Second one's got to be the second best one, right? Like you have to put an order. Attracted 100 plus CFOs from top multinationals, increased revenue by 112%. This is a revenue focused job. That's your first achievement right there, right? And now here we've got revenue, professional summary, giving me aggregate revenue. Over the course of my career, I've consistently boosted revenue by over 30% at each company I've been a part of. Now we're on to the second page. I won't go as deep into these. Let's see. Publications, live links. That's cool. Technical proficiencies, awards. Cool. There was something like a footer. You don't need a footer and page numbers. Key skills and technical proficiencies. I think there's just kind of a bit of redundancy. Hey, I'm a fellow FIU grad. Awesome. So cool to see that. And then I wanted to talk about very quickly, this contact information is perfect. Perfect. It's email, phone number. You could ditch the icons. I don't think it really matters. City, state. And then this is the right way. This is my preferred way to do the LinkedIn. LinkedIn.com/in and their profile. It's a live link, so I can click it and go to their profile if I want. But if the live link breaks for some reason, I can copy paste it and still get it. You'll see one in a bit where someone just put LinkedIn and made it a live link. If that link breaks, I can't get to their LinkedIn. All right, so there's some cool learnings here. Yeah, we'll move on from there. All right, let me jump back into the questions real quick. Actually, let me bring up my internal team Slack. Yeah, oftentimes Leah will tell me if I miss something. I missed the tense question. What I would say on tense is just stay consistent. And try to use an active voice. Okie dokie. Let's see here. We still sharing? Great. Okay, so this person didn't share one. A lot of mobility specialists and desktop support. Okay, so this is a desktop support engineer. Okay, great. Let's look at this resume. Okay, there's a couple formatting things that look quite non-traditional. But it's okay. All right, contact information is good. No LinkedIn profile. So that would avoid that. Okay, I'm a desktop engineer and IT trainer with a tech background and project coordination. Right. My experience has been in the support of clients and end users in a law firm environment, recognized for demonstrating a natural aptitude for building positive client and end user relationships and creating business and customer retention. There's some good stuff here, like retention, right? You're talking about the impacts you had. I think there's a little bit of this, like a I am, you can get rid of. So there's a few things I would change there, but simple. Like I like the target title. Could do some work here. Also, it's like the visually, like again, italicized, bold, kind of going around a little all over the place. This, okay, this bachelor's degree was recently completed because you've been working. If you're going to put your education at the top, it needs a little more visual impact. It just feels weird that it's kind of like tossed in there. If you're putting your education at the top, just because you recently graduated doesn't mean you have to put it at the top. And it seems like the roles you're applying for are less dependent on your degree. You actually have work experience in support. So in this case, I would move my education down. I really think education is, if it's core to getting you employed, it can be at the top, but give it a little more oomph. Like, what was your focus on? What was you just got a bachelor's degree. I don't even know what your degree was in. So again, as I'm like reading down, every line's job is to get me to read the next one. Like, okay. It's like, oh, all right. Well, now I'm like, just think about it. In someone's mind, they've got yes and no scale point, like weights that they're putting on a scale. And there's some number in their head that, like, once the no's outweigh the yeses, they just stop. They just stop reading and go to the next one. And your job is to not let that happen. So I would just move this down because I don't think it's adding much. Because it's really just going to be a check the box. Does this person have a degree? Because it's not even you're not listing out the specific degree. Okay, let's look here. Professional experience, Apple mobility specialist, desktop support engineering and trainer. Cool. This is very non-conventional to do job, date range, then company. I would clean that up, and it's a little hard to read. There's also something funky that's happening from a formatting perspective. This isn't operating the way bullets typically operate. The whole point of bullets is to make it easier to read, and I hear they're making it harder to read, so something's failing. Because you have the text is not indented with the bullet, and then you have this text that's going over here. This may have been an export to PDF problem, but the whole point of structuring text this way is to make it easier to read. So it's kind of failing at that. Created and updating organized tech materials and sessions. This doesn't tell me anything. Give me the number of things, help me out there. It's also the shortest, probably worst achievement out of this batch. So definitely don't make it the first one. Want to see some more numbers in here. Yeah, let's get some numbers in here. Let's talk about the impact of this. Like, why did this matter? Completed migration from old MDM to new MDM. If I'm a recruiter and like technical support seems like there could be a lot of different things, I would also be careful about using abbreviations too much unless they're truly widely understood abbreviations. All right, if you worked at Apple, that's a big deal. That's a great brand name, awesome recognition. Yeah, I would want to highlight that. I feel like it's just kind of buried in here. Okay, cool. It's also something weird like with bullets and bullets. Yeah, structurally, this is a hard document to read. It feels like it's lacking flow, structure, just looks like a bunch of text thrown on a page. And so I don't think it's like telling a visual narrative. And then it's just very descriptive. It's overall missing impact. And so this is where things like, if I wrote on strong attention to detail, I'm like, this is the resume I saw. I was like, that's not true. You don't have strong attention to detail. So think about like actions louder than words. Just because you put it doesn't mean someone's going to believe it. Those are things you kind of want to think about. All right, let's jump to the next one. All right, let's see if there's some stuff here I can answer real quick. Okay. Leah sent me some ones that she hadn't caught there. Okay. For someone with multiple years of experience, would you say pick the top 3 points to highlight, focusing on big wins? I don't like to give like binary responses. I like to give advice that helps inform your judgment so you can think for yourself and you don't need us. Right? The intention is to prove why they should hire you based on what they've said they need. So what I like to tell people is include everything that helps make a stronger case for why they should hire you. So if your last job was a bullseye for what they're asking for, and you have like real experiences that, check off every single thing they're asking for, then put a little more. But if that job didn't have that much, don't sort of stuff it just because you feel like your last job needed to have more things in it, right? If it was 2 jobs ago, then that one can be a little bigger. There's nothing that says it needs to like progressively get shorter, right? Make your case for why they should hire you and highlight the most relevant experiences you have to what they're asking for in the job description. Now, on a per resume basis, that's kind of annoying. And that's why we really sort of subscribe to the idea of a comprehensive career history. Because the cool thing you can do is you can go in and just add a ton of achievements. I'll just copy paste a couple examples here, and you can put in all your achievements. You don't need to conflate curation and creation. You can create, and then you can curate on a per job basis just what you need to include for that job. And then you don't have a whole bunch of different documents, and that's kind of foundational into how the Teal resume builder is built to help you do that easier. Also, for those that are using the Teal resume builder, we just launched a couple hours ago 2 new templates. This one's modeled off of the kind of one of the default Google templates. So you get this one. And then we have this one with the lines. It's a little bit more of a sort of traditional design example. So if I sort of swatch this over to, that looks kind of like a very standard traditional resume template. So those 2 new ones, these are the original ones. I swatch this over to Poppins. Which the difference here, it's kind of got like an all caps bold section heading. This one's got like a light thin section heading and a bigger professional summary. So those are hot off the presses, and they're included free in the Teal resume builder. Alrighty, let's jump to the next one. How are we doing on time? All right, 4:35, cool. I want to try to get to these, so anyone who is joining, make sure they see them. I'm trying to move up in my current industry. Taxonomist. When I first read it, I thought it was taxidermist, which I think would be equally cool. Need full-time work. Okay. Yep. Contract work is tough. All right. No JD. So let's just see what this means. Okay. Contact information is clean, simple. You don't need to put your zip code. Not a big deal, but you don't need it. Just get some of that space back. Phone number was fine. Oh, I forgot to block out their email address. I'm so sorry. And then the email for the LinkedIn, they put the whole HTTPS. You don't need that. You can get rid of that. You can just do linkedin.com, but it was a live link, which is great. Okay, cool. Summary: taxonomy consultant with 5 years experience, builds both large scale and small scale taxonomies, reflecting community content with ease. Some of these things that are like subjective, it's like with ease. I'd be mindful. Like, how can you prove that? You know, what data could you show that you did that like effectively at a high volume that someone in the industry would get? Troubleshoots and communicates with cross-functional teams. Leverages tech. Yeah, there's something about the way that's written that's a little tricky. Make it easy for people and tools to understand. Okay, this professional summary is kind of descriptive, and honestly, I'm kind of struggling with it. Give me some, like, how many systems have you designed? You know, what's the overall, like, I don't know, is there a metric to quantify taxonomies? You know, designed a classification system that had over 50,000 words and a hierarchy. Give me something that shows your ability to do this effectively. That have been used to quickly auto tag content in a community that was used for an ML model or drive power an AI engine. Like, what's it being used for, and how are you connecting this skill and this knowledge and ability you have to business impact? All right, skills and abilities. I'm not sure that the nesting is helpful. Like, I would even try just like colon and list it out. Again, like visually, my eyes needing to do a lot. This is like a light gray. These are centered. These are like left and right justified. Education was kind of just like slid into the top here. I barely even noticed it because it doesn't have a heading like the others. Again, like, consistency is your friend. If you're going to go with this center justified heading thing, do it again. Like, why is education? It feels like you're trying to, I thought maybe you're trying to get it down to one page, but consistency, I would say. And given you got 5 years of experience, I probably wouldn't even put your education first. Same thing I said earlier. These two things are doing the same thing. You're trying to give me a snapshot of who you are. One's in summary form, one's in like bulleted skill form. I think try to get, if you're going to go summary, just try to get some of these keywords and important ones in the summary. And then I would put skills and abilities down below, like take me straight to your work. I would change this to work experience. A lot of the parsers look for that on how they look for work experience. So I would just change that. You don't need to be so explicit about it being both. All right, see, Nike's a really cool brand. That's like a known company. You know, that's impressive. Just say Nike. I'd probably want to put that above this, right? The Nike chose you. That's gonna mean something. You got through their hiring process. You're working with a big, impressive brand. Right, so this is an e-commerce site. What did it do? What did it do to the user experience? Did it get more items to the shopping cart? Did it get more people to transact? Why did they even care about the taxonomy? What did it mean? Just like talking about these things on their own, just to say, like, I have this ability, you can do that. But if you could tie it or connect it to the impact that was had as a result of your participation, that's even better. Design and build out of collegiate fan gear. Okay. Yeah, these are very descriptive. I just kind of want to see, like, in descriptive is not that helpful. Want to try to tie it to some impact, some metrics. Accenture marketing. Okay, Accenture's this kind of I know it was contracting work, so just kind of, I guess, trying to be explicit about that. But these are some really good known brands. Like, try to take advantage of that. Now, this is the same thing as this, right? Provided consulting for this is what you set up here. So really try not to repeat yourself on a resume. Right? Don't waste that screen space saying the same thing multiple times. That's not to say you can't like highlight a keyword or an ability, but like to literally say the same thing 2 times, it's kind of a waste. Again, I would be thoughtful about acronyms. Is this digital asset management? Is it, the DAM could be a lot of different things. So again, also like all this nesting and structuring, I get it. You're a taxonomy person, but like really make it easy to read. Like the hierarchies here, I'm not sure they really matter to the end user that much, that this is a subset of this, which is a subset of this, which is a subset of this. So just like clean it up and make it easy to read. Again, I also just think you're giving the dates like way too much priority. Like, why are they the first thing I read? Right? What's more interesting is Nike, Accenture, what your role was, and then the date. I think about the order in which you want to present information. And I don't know why like the dates are getting um, so much like visual power. All right, so these are similar type things. Again, here like a totally different notation system of like a title, no bullet with a bullet. Just like stay consistent. And this resume shouldn't be 3 pages. You got 5 years of experience. It really should be 2 pages max. If you could get it down to 1 page, that would be great. It's not about 1 page. It's about your ability to concisely describe your value. If you need to do that in 2 pages, great. But just remember, the longer it is, the harder you have to work to get people to read it. All right, we'll stop there on that one. Any advice for career breaks? How to deal on a resume and tips on how to make it effective rather than a stumbling block. So, look, I just say honesty is the best policy. And some people feel sort of self-conscious about it. They need to be very like, they just feel like they have to like make a confession on their resume. You don't need to do that. Unless it's something that was like really out of the ordinary or different, I would address it in the professional summary. Again, it's like a very light version of a cover letter. It's like an introduction, which is kind of the whole point of a cover letter, was to have a cover to the resume. So it's just kind of like an intro. Now you've got job applications, which serve that purpose. You've got emails, if you email it in, that serve that purpose. And I think the professional summary is a real simple place to just be able to put that. So if you want to say, towards the, and I wouldn't open my professional summary with that. I would end my professional summary with that. Hook them first. It feels like a really, yeah, I mean, yeah, and I would just like show the reverse chronological order. There's going to be that last job that went to a certain date and then another. If it was your last job, and so your sort of the last time you worked was many years ago, then maybe you want to address that in the professional summary. Maybe you want to create a role called career break and give a little detail there. But until you're getting like direct feedback that that's an issue, I wouldn't try to front run that. And a lot of people kind of get in their head about some of those things, and they generally maybe matter a little less than. Again, if someone said something to you, then that's a different story. But I feel like we're our own worst critics sometimes. All right. Hopefully that answered that question. Okay, we already answered the tense one. Yeah, contract work I think is totally fine. So what I've seen people do is just say contractor in parentheses, but also I don't think it's. Yeah, I don't think you want to say you were an FTE. Whoever the daily cocktail is, send it on in, submit it on the form. We will review it. And if we don't do them live, we'll start to do some async. So if you submit it, we'll get to it. We promise. Okay, cool. That's right, Daryl. Resumes are a marketing document. It's like you've known me for a while. The form will be in the comments, and it just, okay, cool. All right, I think I'm mostly caught up. Okay, cool. I'm way behind, actually. I'm not caught up at all. But let's just go next. What we're doing on time, 4:45. We got 15 minutes to do 2 more. Let's get to it. All right, looking for a new occupation, HR generalist, HRBP, which stands for Human Resources Business Partner, for anyone who doesn't know, HR operations lead, very open to different industries, would like to get out of tech or nonprofits. Those are very different. Okay, human resources generalist position. Let's go ahead and close these. See more. See what Teal has to say. Paid acting affinity benefits. Okay. Benefits questions. That makes sense. Okay, so this is about the role. That's usually the responsibility section. Point of contact to human resources. Okay, managing timekeeping activities. All right. Okay, so this is like a very administrative HR position. About you. This is usually the requirements section. Okay, sure. HRIS, that's HR information systems, things like Workday, and they call it out specifically, PeopleSoft. So if you've got PeopleSoft or Kronos experience, you're going to absolutely want to address that. And if you don't, you're going to kind of want to bridge that gap. When a company goes as far as to name a software, they really want you to know it. Bachelor's degree, New York timekeeping and labor laws. Okay, so that's important. And they was okay, cool. Alrighty, let's look at this resume. Okay, so I said we'd have an example of how not to do a LinkedIn. Again, this isn't about calling anyone out in particular, but again, if this link broke, now there's no way for them to get to your LinkedIn. So that's why I like linkedin.com/in/. You could even do /. You can make it a live link as well. But if for some reason this my company doesn't allow us to link out, or they're the PDF from PDFs because that's susceptible to spam, or they can copy paste it and go to LinkedIn directly. So that's just a little thing there. Other than that, this is great. Okay, look, this is another approach. No professional summary, cut to the chase, straight work experience. I think it's very effective, and I think it's totally fine. Let's look at their work experience and see if they could potentially benefit from a professional summary. At quick glance, this is a very dense resume. In terms of like a lot, there's not a lot of spacing between the lines. My eyes kind of like jumbling the text together. But let's see. Detect, remote, February, due to company-wide layoffs. This is an example where like I see this tenure, it was not very long. I think this is helpful context, right? Because then you avoid somebody needing to go directly to assuming worst intent. This is something you can front run, and I think this is an effective way to do it. Partner with IT department to build and implement automated onboarding and offboarding if you have fresh service. And led effort to switch performance management system, evaluating 13 system. Okay, so right here, I'm like, what I would say is, I'm missing this like human resources generalist. If you're coming from tech, they're using the word human resources. That's like very HR, traditional HR. You were at a tech company that's using people. Like, hopefully someone gets it, but I would maybe even change this to HR operations lead or human resources operation lead. And then in parentheses, you could put people. There's nothing disingenuous about that, but you're sort of framing it in their language. I would go as far as to maybe do something like that here. I'm just not like seeing anything here that solves some of these things. It was remote, but were you in New York? Like, location clearly matters to them. What in here is like telling me you understand like New York labor laws? I would try to get some of that stuff. Again, this might be, if that's not relevant, this might be an opportunity to put in a professional summary because you can address some of those things. Because if this doesn't, you might have lost them on this job, right? They're like, okay, I'll just skim. Okay, conducted audit of company handbook, identifying NYC. Okay, that's cool. See, that's really great. That's something they want. I want to see like employee count, like these, office jobs. It seems like if they're time tracking on this job, like, was there any aspect of like time tracking, time logging, hourly work? I want to try to address some of that. These are lacking numbers more broadly. I feel like, again, they're descriptive, ensure the accuracy, conducted exit interviews, shared the insights to combat spikes in turnovers. But did turnovers get better as a result of this work? A better version of this is, reduced turnover by 10% by conducting exit interviews and sharing trend insights with the executive team. What was the impact? How did I achieve that impact? Assisted with the employee. Okay. Like, how many employees? If that 1 employee, 2 employees is not that impressive. And then that might be a reason to leave it off. But if it was a number, like, don't miss out on an opportunity to highlight. Okay. Here I'm just like, my eye is very quickly glancing to more numbers. 160, 10 state taxes, 20 plus hiring managers. So something I see people do is they kind of put in this like general one as the first one, but it also then makes it like the most watered down, right? And then I don't feel like there's like a narrative order to the way. It's just like, it's just everything I did. I don't have an opinion on the order in which I'm listing these. And I think you should very much have an opinion in the order in which you're listing them. You should assume people are going to read the top 3. They're going to skim after that. You're just better off that way. Even if they do, and just make sure that the first 3 are really great. Okay, Trustify. Here's an example of company and then positions. I think the bullets are doing you a bit of a disservice here, that they're all left aligned. Like, I think their job is to indent a little bit. So there's something weird with this like big gap in the bullets being here. You could take off an internship. That was in 2015. That doesn't need to be there. I don't think it's, especially as you're like trying to jam a bunch of stuff on one page. Internship's not helping here. University of Miami. Whoop, whoop. I didn't go there, but I'm in Miami. So let's see. You could take things off like Microsoft Office, G Suite. Those are kind of understood. And then your next software is CRM. You're an HR person. Like, I'm not sure that's the next thing I would list. I would rearrange that. All right, so there's some stuff on that one. All right, we're down to the last one. Let me see if I can. Okay. Dave, sometimes I'm tempted to boldface specific words in my job achievements and bulletin based on their use in the JD. That seems a little heavy-handed. It's not conventional, but I kind of think it's interesting. We were on with Dan Space last week, and he liked it. He liked it. Like, you were helping me tell me like where to take my eye. I don't think anyone's going to knock you out for it. I don't think there's like unwritten resume rules where that's like not allowed. You shouldn't do that. I think it's a way to take matters into your own hands and say, this is really important and I want you to know. I would use it sparingly, so it's not all over the place. But I'm kind of in favor of, if you want to try that, to do something like that, especially if you're addressing something in the JD. Alrighty, last one. Community manager, employee experience. Okay, those are very different. One's like marketing support, one's more HR. Let's see the JD. Director community programs at Figma. I love Figma. All right, that's some info about the company. Figma's they just got acquired they're going to be acquired by Adobe. So some context on the company. What you'll do. So this is a responsibility section. Scale community programs, drive community engagement. This is a requirement section. 4 to 7 years of community experience and 8 to 10 years of relevant work experience. Okay. 3 years leading teams. Strong collaboration, excel balancing both analytical and human side. Okay. Yep. All right, let's look at the resume. So first thing I'm going to do is just look at years of experience. They were very explicit. 2015. This person started working in 2015. That's 7 years, right? We're in 2022. 8 to 10 years of relevant work experience. So that's something this resume needs to do. How am I going to make it clear that I have that amount of experience? Yeah, you don't want to lie, obviously. So that's something this resume needs to address. They were applying for that job, right? And I'm not, but that's something to think about. And that's where people want to blame the ATS and they say, oh, it knocked me out. It's like, it's a binary question with a binary requirement. It's either a yes or a no. If you're a no, they're not, like, companies aren't in the business of taking bets on people in that kind of way. Another thing you could do is just pursue a different route in. right? Like if that's the case, I wouldn't necessarily apply online to this job. See if you can get it emailed into somebody at the company. All right, let's see. Again, kind of a lot of space for two things doing the same thing. Professional summary, a professional profile, and just like have it be one. Don't do this. Don't double it up. And it's also different. Like, why is this like a bunch of like one's a summary of your career and the other one's your career in like skill, comma separated form? Just get these words in here. This is also kind of long. I would, a lot of recruiters say don't put this at all. You really don't want this to be more than like 4 to 5 lines. If I'm having to read a lot, then that's a lot of work. Education, this isn't, you're not fresh out of school. I would put that at the bottom. And also your professional experience is amazing. You worked at a company like Patreon. It's got a great known brand. Black Girls Code, that's an amazing organization. WeWork, we have that in common, for better for worse, a lot of growth when you were there. And also a community company. Nootropic, Soho House. You have phenomenal brands on this resume. Senior Culture and Belonging Program Manager, I would change this to map to the job you're applying to. So unless that's exactly the job you're applying to, do not use that. That feels like a little broad and people might not know what that means. Okay, so look, I don't. So this is where I'm usually okay with this if you need to define the company because people may not know about it, but I'm not a fan of both of these, like text and bullets. Pick one or the other. The point is to like drive the point quickly. And so, yeah, I'm a fan of bullets. The Teal resume builder only lets you do bullets. That's kind of because we just think that's what people want to read. I would pick one or the other. Do not do both. Let's see. And also, there's, again, like a ton of different graphical notation systems. Let's see. This is kind of, let's call that body font. Bolded font with a gray background. Bolded all caps with the first letter being bigger. Body font. All caps with the first letter bigger. Italicized. That's 5. Back to that here. Gray. It's just a lot. There's a lot going on. Like, clean it up. And so, because it's already so condensed, and I think some of these things, if you can get rid of them, you can give it a little more room to breathe. I don't think you need like notable contributions. Those things are kind of implied. Not seeing numbers, just like at a glance. I'd try to get some numbers. I like some of these words: created, designed. Some of these are those engagement strategies saw more than 200% increase in attendance. That's just kind of a weird sentence to like be aligned to kind of be on its own. I think it's like lacking context. So I like my general takeaway from this is do less better. Like go with you have a lot of quantity on here. Tighten these up. Get this down to half the number of bullets. Kind of have it look like this. Got some great keywords in here, some great brands I recognize. Again, I'm not seeing like much of the difference between this and this. It's either all bullets or paragraph. And generally a lack of numbers. Increased memory engagement. Some of these are even the same. Like that's literally what you wrote above, I think. Where was it? No, engagement strategy saw more than 200% increase in attendance. Okay. Yeah, I would also tailor this because it seems like you were kind of doing a little bit of marketing there. Some of this stuff from below you can get rid of. I think you want to show your years of experience, but you can also address that straight up in the professional summary. This is 1, 2, 3 pages. Again, it's less about the page count, but that's just a lot of information. I want to see like that being distilled down. I want to see clarity and communication on that. Okay. We are at 5:01 on the dot. I got another question here. Question. I have a question about the Teal resume builder. Are we able to add new sections? Project experience is quite relevant to me. Soon. we don't have it right now. Give us a couple weeks. We will have volunteering, projects, publications, kind of the other key sections that you'd expect to see on a resume. They are coming very soon. We had to get past this hurdle of basically revamping our whole template engine to be able to make it more extensible. That just got pushed today. So in a few weeks, those sections will be there. So bear with us. Keep filling out your career history on there. But unfortunately, right now, we don't have that. Sorry. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything else here. As I look on here, I can turn off my screen sharing. Yeah, that was Dana's question. Yep, agreed, Daryl. What's the benefit? Features and benefits. Okay, I have a question about the Teal Resume Builder. Oh, yeah, that's the new section. All right, cool. I think we got through everything. If any of this, some of this guidance is built into the Teal Resume Builder. We've got this analysis mode. Some of analysis is premium, but you like a lot of them, the sort of core things are going to be free. If you want a more advanced analysis, and that algorithm is going to continue to get better and smarter, you can do some of this matching directly in the Teal Resume Builder. We'll search for the keywords for you, and that'll help you do some of that matching automatically, and it makes the resume. It's not two separate processes you need to do. And then it's, of course, all tied directly into the job tracker. So all those jobs you save go right in there. So we're trying to really think through a lot of these headaches that you have to sort of deal with when you job search, to make it a little easier so you can focus on the job searching part and not all the annoying stuff. So thanks so much for joining. If there's other stuff you'd like to see, let us know. This will be republished to YouTube as a video, and then LinkedIn keeps it up for a while as well. So you can feel free to go back and watch it if there's anything you missed. But for our next one, if you didn't cover your resume, please submit it. We'll try to get to it. Like I said, if we don't get to it in a live, we'll do an async. But thanks so much. There's a lot like I said, job searching is tricky. We're here to help. Anything you need, let us know. If there's functionality that you want that doesn't exist, let us know. We want to hear from job seekers directly. We want to make this process better for you. So sign up for Teal, hit that feedback button in the lower right. And I get those emails, either me, Lara, will reply to them directly. So best of luck. We'll see you soon. And thanks so much for joining.